My MIL told me, "You're just the incubator." My son comes first, and announced she'd be in the delivery room no matter what. I added her to the hospital's do not admit list and gave birth without telling anyone. 2 days later, she showed up at our house furious, screaming that I stole her granddaughter's birth from her, right as my husband quietly handed her a folder with copies of every text she'd sent calling me fat, stupid, and replaceable. I'm 28 and my husband is 31. We've been married 2 years and this was our first baby. His mom has always been difficult, but I tried to keep the peace because my husband loves her. Big mistake. The problem started when I announced the pregnancy. She immediately started making comments about her granddaughter like I wasn't even involved. She'd rub my stomach without asking and say things like "Grandma's going to spoil you so much" while completely ignoring me. My husband thought it was sweet. I thought it was weird but didn't push it. Then came the delivery room conversation. We were at a family dinner when she announced in front of everyone that she'd be in the delivery room no matter what because that's her right as the grandmother. I said no, it's just going to be me and my husband. She laughed like I told a joke and said we'll see about that. My husband pulled me aside later and asked if I could just let her have this one thing. I reminded him that I'd be the one half naked and in pain, not him. He said his mom was really excited and it would mean a lot to her. I said no again. That's when the text started. She sent me multiple messages a day about how I was being selfish and cruel. How she deserved to see her granddaughter born. How my husband was her son first and I needed to remember my place in the family. Then she started getting nasty. Called me fat, said I was too stupid to raise a child properly, told me I was replaceable and my husband could do better. I showed my husband. He said she was just stressed and didn't mean it. Asked me to be the bigger person. I stopped showing him after that. 2 weeks before my due date she cornered me at another family dinner. Grabbed my arm hard enough to bruise and whispered, "You're just the incubator. My son comes first, this baby comes second, and you come never. I will be in that delivery room and there's nothing you can do about it." I smiled and said okay. Then I went home and called the hospital. Added her to the do not admit list. Called my OB and made sure the staff knew under no circumstances was she allowed anywhere near me. My husband wasn't happy when I told him, but I said it was non-negotiable. He could be there or not, his choice. He chose to be there, but he was pissed. I went into labor at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday. We didn't tell anyone. Turned our phones off. The hospital staff were amazing and kept asking if I was okay, if I felt safe. I guess they could tell something was wrong from how I'd filled out the paperwork. Labor was 14 hours. My daughter was born healthy. My husband cried when he held her and apologized for not taking my side sooner. We spent 2 days in the hospital, just the 3 of us. It was perfect. Then we went home. His mom's car was in the driveway. She came storming out before we even parked. Started screaming that I'd stolen her granddaughter's birth from her. That I was a vindictive bitch who'd ruined the most important moment of her life. That she'd never forgive me. Her face was red and she was crying and yelling and my neighbors were staring. My husband got out of the car holding a folder. He'd been quiet the whole drive home, but I didn't know why. He walked up to his mom and handed it to her without saying anything. She opened it. Inside were printed copies of every single text message she'd sent me over the past month. All the ones calling me fat, stupid, replaceable. The ones saying I was just an incubator. Everything. "You don't get to meet her," he said. His voice was calm. "Not today, not next week, not ever. You made it very clear what you think of my wife and I'm choosing her. I should have chosen her months ago." His mom tried to grab his arm. He stepped back. She started crying harder, saying she didn't mean any of it, she was just excited, hormones made her say crazy things. He told her to leave. She refused. He called the police for trespassing. She left before they arrived but kept calling and texting both of us. We blocked her number. His dad called asking what happened and my husband sent him the folder too. Haven't heard from his dad since. It's been 3 weeks. His mom showed up at our house twice more. Second time the police actually came and gave her a warning. My husband's siblings are divided. 2 of them think we're being too harsh. One said she's been horrible to their partners too and good for us. My own mom thinks I should have just let her in the delivery room to keep the peace. Says I'm being dramatic and this is going to ruin my marriage. But my husband seems relieved, honestly. Like he finally has permission to set boundaries. But I keep thinking about that moment in the driveway. How she looked when she saw all those texts printed out. How she cried. And I wonder if I went too far with cutting her off completely. Maybe I should have given her one more chance after the baby was born. My daughter is never going to know her grandmother now, and that's because of choices I made. Am I a butthole? My husband's father just showed up at our door with his mom's medical records trying to prove she has dementia and isn't responsible for what she said to me. I need to back up slightly. After my last post blew up and everyone told me I wasn't wrong, I felt better about our decision. My husband felt validated too. We thought blocking her and having the police warn her off would be enough. It wasn't. His dad called from a number we didn't have blocked 4 days after my original post. My husband answered because he didn't recognize it. His dad spent 20 minutes trying to convince him that his mom was going through menopause and that's why she said all those horrible things. That she's been to a doctor and they think her hormones are affecting her judgment. My husband asked if that's why she'd been awful to his siblings' partners for years too. His dad hung up. Then the gifts started arriving. Expensive baby things. A crib that cost more than our couch. Designer clothes with the tags still on. Car seat, stroller, one of those fancy baby monitors that tracks breathing. Everything sent to our house with notes like for my granddaughter, with love from Grandma. We donated all of it. My husband took pictures of the donation receipts and texted them to his dad's number with a message saying we didn't want anything from her. His dad called back screaming that we were being cruel and immature. But yesterday was when things got really bad. His dad showed up at our house at 7 p.m. We'd just put the baby down and were eating dinner. My husband answered the door and his dad pushed past him into our living room carrying a folder. He said we needed to talk as adults and that we were ruining his wife's mental health. I came out holding our daughter because she'd woken up from the noise. His dad's face completely changed when he saw her. He tried to reach for her and I stepped back. My husband got between us and told his dad he needed to leave. That's when his dad opened the folder. Medical records. Test results. A letter from a doctor saying his mom had been experiencing mood swings and emotional dysregulation consistent with perimenopause. He actually said, "See, she's sick, she can't help what she said to your wife." My husband asked if being sick made it okay that she grabbed me hard enough to leave bruises. His dad said I was exaggerating. I pulled up my sleeve. The bruises are fading now but they're still visible. 4 finger marks on my upper arm, clear as day. His dad stared at my arm for a long time. Then he said she didn't mean to hurt you. I asked him to leave. He ignored me and kept talking to my husband like I wasn't there. Said his mom was devastated, not eating, not sleeping. That she'd lost 15 pounds. That her own son abandoning her was making everything worse. My husband said she abandoned him first when she told his wife she was replaceable. His dad's voice got louder. Said I'd turned his son against his own mother. That I was manipulative and controlling and this was exactly what his mom warned him about. That I'd isolated my husband from his family and now I was keeping his granddaughter from him too. My husband told him to get out. His dad refused. Said he wasn't leaving until we agreed to at least let his mom see the baby. Just once. Just for an hour. We could supervise the whole time. I said no. His dad turned on me and called me a vindictive bitch. Said I was using the baby as a weapon. That grandparents have rights and he'd looked into it. My husband physically moved toward his dad and told him he had 10 seconds to leave before he called the police. His dad left but not before saying this wasn't over. My husband was shaking after he closed the door. I've never seen him that angry. He kept apologizing to me and to our daughter even though she was asleep again. Said he should have stood up to his parents years ago. That he'd watched his mom be awful to his siblings' partners and told himself it was just her personality, just how she was. He called himself a coward. We spent 2 hours talking after the baby went back down. He's terrified his dad is serious about grandparents' rights. I looked it up and in our state it's almost impossible for grandparents to get visitation if both parents are married and agree to deny access. But my husband is worried they'll try anyway. The thing that really got to me was the medical records. Part of me wondered if maybe his dad was right. If she really is sick and can't control what she's saying. But then I remember all the times before I was pregnant when she made little comments. When she told my husband he could do better right in front of me at their anniversary party 2 years ago. When she forgot to include me in family photos. When she'd plan holidays and send the information to my husband's email only, never including me in the chain. This isn't menopause. This is who she's always been. She just got worse when I got pregnant because suddenly I wasn't just the woman taking her son away, I was the woman having her granddaughter. My husband's siblings are no help. The 2 who sided with his parents are sending him articles about the importance of forgiveness and family bonds. His sister who supported us initially is now saying maybe we should consider supervised visits for the baby's sake. Only his youngest brother is still completely on our side. I don't know what to do if his parents actually try to sue for visitation. My husband says we'll fight it but lawyers are expensive. And what if showing those texts in court isn't enough? What if a judge sees a grandmother who claims to be sick and thinks we're being too harsh? Am I wrong for not even considering letting her meet our daughter? Everyone keeps saying babies need their grandparents but she's not acting like a grandparent, she's acting like she owns my child. My husband's mother hired a private investigator to follow us and now we have photos of every place we've taken our daughter for the past 2 weeks. His dad showed up again 3 days after I posted the last update. This time he brought his mom. My husband saw them through the window and didn't open the door. They stood on our porch for 15 minutes knocking and calling our phones. Our daughter was screaming because she could hear the noise and I was trying to calm her down while my husband called the police. They left before the cops arrived but not before his mom shoved an envelope through our mail slot. Inside were photos. Me putting the baby in her car seat outside Target. My husband pushing her stroller through the park near our house. Both of us at a coffee shop with her in one of those carrier things. There were probably 30 photos total. Different days, different locations. Someone had been following us. My husband threw up when he saw them. Just went straight to the bathroom and I heard him getting sick. I stood there holding these pictures of my daughter, this tiny person who's only 7 weeks old, and tried to understand what kind of person does this. There was a note with the photos. His mom's handwriting. It said, "I know where she is every day. I know her schedule. You can't keep her from me forever." We called the police back. They came and took the photos and the envelope. The officer said it's not technically illegal to take photos in public places, but combined with the previous trespassing warning and the threatening note, we could probably get a restraining order. He gave us the paperwork. My husband's hands were shaking so bad he could barely hold the pen to fill it out. But here's the part that made everything worse. We found out who took the photos. His sister. The one who'd been sending articles about forgiveness and family bonds. She admitted it when my husband called her screaming. Said their mom was desperate to see her grandbaby and she was just trying to help. That we were being unreasonable and this wouldn't be happening if we'd just let their mom visit. My husband asked if she understood how fucked up it was to stalk his infant daughter. She said she wasn't stalking anyone, she was just documenting that the baby was fine so their mom wouldn't worry. He hung up on her and blocked her number too. We filed for the restraining order yesterday. Court date is in 2 weeks. Our lawyer said the photos plus the previous incidents should be enough, but nothing's guaranteed. Meanwhile, we're supposed to just keep living our lives knowing someone might be watching us every time we leave the house. I'm terrified to take our daughter anywhere now. I keep looking over my shoulder in parking lots. My husband installed cameras around our house and checks them constantly on his phone. We're both barely sleeping. His youngest brother called last night. The one who's been on our side this whole time. He said the rest of the family is talking about us like we're the villains in all this. That his mom has been telling everyone we're keeping the baby from her out of spite. That she's made herself out to be this poor grandmother who just wants to love her granddaughter, but her cruel daughter-in-law won't allow it. She's not telling them about the texts. About calling me an incubator. About the bruises on my arm. She's rewritten the whole story and most of his family believes her version. His brother said their mom's been posting on social media too. Vague things like missing someone I've never met and a grandmother's heartbreak with sad face emojis. Her friends are commenting things like "I'm so sorry" and "some people are so cruel." My husband doesn't have social media anymore, but his brother sent screenshots. I made the mistake of looking at her profile. She's shared about 15 different articles about parental alienation and grandparents' rights. Posted quotes about toxic daughters-in-law. There's a whole network of women in the comments sharing their own stories about being cut off from their grandchildren. They're all encouraging each other to fight back, to not give up, to remember that grandparents have rights too. It's like watching her build an army. The thing that keeps me up at night is that photo of our daughter at the park. She was wearing this yellow outfit I just bought her. She looked so small and perfect in her stroller. And someone was standing far enough away that we didn't notice, zooming in with a camera, invading this normal moment we were having as a family. I don't feel safe anymore. Our home doesn't feel safe. Taking my daughter to get groceries doesn't feel safe. My husband keeps apologizing. Says this is his fault for not shutting his mom down years ago. For making excuses for her behavior. For not protecting me when she started sending those messages. I tell him it's not his fault, but I can see the guilt eating him alive. We have a consultation with another lawyer next week about what happens if they actually file for grandparents' rights. Our current lawyer handles restraining orders but not family court. This new one specializes in cases like ours apparently. Cases where grandparents try to force visitation. The consultation alone costs $300. If they actually file, we're looking at thousands in legal fees. Money we don't have because we just had a baby and I'm on unpaid maternity leave. Part of me wants to just move. Pack up everything and go somewhere they can't find us. But my husband's job is here and we can't afford to start over. We're trapped. I never thought having a baby would turn into this. I thought the hard part would be the sleepless nights and learning to breastfeed and figuring out how to be parents. Instead, I'm filling out restraining order paperwork and checking over my shoulder every time I leave the house. Is this ever going to end? Or is this just our life now? My husband's entire family showed up at our restraining order hearing and the judge let his mother speak for 20 minutes about how I'm mentally unstable. The hearing was supposed to be straightforward. We had the photos, the threatening note, the text from before the birth. Our lawyer said it would take maybe an hour and we'd walk out with the order in place. We got to the courthouse and his whole family was in the hallway. His mom, his dad, both sisters, one brother, and people I didn't even recognize. Maybe cousins or aunts. They were all sitting together on the benches outside the courtroom in matching shirts that said "Family First" in big letters across the front. My husband stopped walking when he saw them. Just froze in the middle of the hallway. I was carrying our daughter and she started fussing because she could feel how tense I was. His mom stood up when she saw the baby. Tried to walk toward us. My husband put his arm out to block her and told her to stay back. The bailiff had to separate everyone before we even got into the courtroom. Inside it got worse. The judge let his mom have a lawyer even though this was just supposed to be a temporary restraining order hearing. Her lawyer argued that she has a right to see her granddaughter and that we're being vindictive. That the texts were taken out of context. That hiring someone to take photos was just a grandmother trying to see how her grandbaby was doing since we wouldn't let her visit. Our lawyer showed the bruises. The photos I took of my arm 2 days after she grabbed me. His mom's lawyer said there's no proof she caused those bruises. That I could have done that to myself to make her look bad. I almost screamed right there in the courtroom. Then the judge let his mom speak directly. She cried. Talked about how she's never even held her granddaughter. How she made mistakes when she was worried about the pregnancy but she's apologized and we won't accept it. How she's been seeing a therapist for her emotional regulation issues and she's on medication now. How all she wants is one supervised visit to prove she's changed. She never apologized. Not once before this hearing. But she stood there and lied to a judge and said she tried to make things right and we refused. The judge asked if we'd be willing to do supervised visits. My husband said no. Explained about the incubator comment, about her saying I was replaceable, about her showing up at our house after we blocked her. The judge looked tired. Like he'd heard this exact thing 100 times before and didn't want to deal with it. He denied the restraining order. Said the evidence shows a family conflict but not an immediate threat. Said we should consider family mediation instead. Gave us a list of mediators and told us to work it out like adults. We walked out of that courtroom with nothing. His mom was smiling in the hallway. Surrounded by all those people in matching shirts. She called out, "We can fix this now," as we walked past. My husband didn't even look at her. I cried the entire drive home. Our daughter was screaming in her car seat and I couldn't calm her down because I couldn't calm myself down. My husband's knuckles were white on the steering wheel. He didn't say anything for 15 minutes and then he just whispered, "I'm so sorry." That was 4 days ago. Since then his mom has called 47 times from different numbers. We know because my husband started keeping count. She's left voicemails saying she just wants to talk. That the judge agreed we need to work this out. That she's willing to do mediation if we are. His dad sent a text saying they're filing for grandparents' rights next week. That they didn't want to do it this way but we left them no choice. Our lawyer says it's not an empty threat. In our state they have to prove we're unfit parents or that denying access would harm the child. It's a high bar but not impossible. We had the consultation with the family court lawyer. She said cases like this can drag on for months. Court dates, depositions, custody evaluators. Even if we win it's going to cost between $15,000 and $30,000 in legal fees. She asked if we have any family who could help financially. My parents are dead and my husband's family is the problem, so that's not an option. We can't afford this. We have $4,000 in savings and most of that needs to go toward bills while I'm on leave. My husband asked about payment plans and the lawyer said most family court attorneys don't do them because people stop paying once the case is over. I went back to work early. 3 weeks before I was supposed to. My body isn't ready and I'm still bleeding more than I should be, but we need the money. My boss asked why I was back so soon and I lied and said I was bored at home. Spent my lunch break in my car crying. My daughter is 9 weeks old. She doesn't know any of this is happening. Doesn't know her grandmother is trying to force her way into her life. Doesn't know we might lose our house paying lawyers to keep her safe. His youngest brother called last night. Said their mom is telling everyone we refused mediation. That we're being unreasonable and the judge even said so. She's posting about it on social media again. More articles about parental alienation. More comments from her friends saying she should fight for her rights. I looked at the mediator list the judge gave us. Called 3 of them to ask about costs. The cheapest one is $200 per session and they recommend at least 6 sessions. Another $1,200 we don't have to sit in a room with someone who thinks I'm an incubator while a stranger tells us we need to compromise. My husband doesn't want to do mediation. Says there's nothing to mediate. That you don't negotiate with someone who called your wife replaceable and grabbed her hard enough to leave bruises. But our lawyer said if we refuse and they file for grandparents' rights, the judge will see we didn't even try to work it out. It'll look bad for us in family court. We're trapped. Either we spend money we don't have on mediation that won't work, or we look uncooperative when this goes to court. Either way his mother gets what she wants. I keep thinking about her face in that courtroom when the judge denied our restraining order. The way she smiled in the hallway. Like she'd won. Like she knew this was just the beginning and we were already losing. The filing deadline for grandparents' rights is Monday. 4 days from now. Our lawyer said we'll get served probably within a week after that. Then we have 30 days to respond and the real nightmare starts. I don't know how we're going to survive this. They dropped the grandparents' rights case 3 days before our first court date and I found out why when his youngest brother sent me a video his mom doesn't know exists. We'd already paid the family court lawyer $5,000 as a retainer. Money we borrowed from my aunt because we had nothing left. I was working full-time with a 3-month-old and pumping in my car between meetings because we couldn't afford to lose my income. My husband wasn't sleeping, wasn't eating right. We were both waiting for the other shoe to drop. Then their lawyer sent an email saying they were withdrawing the petition. No explanation. Just a one-sentence notice that the case was dismissed at petitioner's request. My husband called his brother immediately. Asked what happened. His brother said to check our email, he was sending something, and we needed to see it before we talked. The video was from a family gathering at his parents' house 2 weeks ago. His brother recorded it on his phone without anyone knowing. His mom was drunk. Started talking about her strategy for getting access to our daughter. She said once they got court-ordered visitation she was going to document everything we did wrong as parents. Every time the baby cried too long. Every time she had a diaper rash. Every tiny thing she could use to prove we were unfit. She told his dad and sisters that the goal wasn't just visitation, it was full custody. That she could raise our daughter better than we could. That once she had enough evidence she'd go back to court and get the baby taken away from us completely. His sister, the one who took those photos, was laughing in the video. Saying she'd help document everything. His other sister said something about how I'd probably have another baby soon anyway, so losing this one wouldn't matter that much to me. His dad was quiet during all of this. Just nodding. His mom kept saying that baby belongs with me, not with that woman. His brother said he couldn't stay quiet after hearing that. Sent the video to his parents and told them if they didn't drop the case he'd submit it as evidence. Said he'd testify about every horrible thing their mom had said about me over the years. That he was done protecting people who wanted to destroy his brother's family. His parents dropped the case the next day. We haven't heard from any of them since. No calls, no texts, no showing up at our house. His brother said their mom is telling people we threatened them with false evidence. That we manipulated the situation. But enough people know the truth now that her support system is falling apart. His sister who took the photos apparently feels terrible. Keeps trying to reach out to apologize. My husband blocked her after the third attempt. Says sorry doesn't fix what she did. His other sister hasn't said anything at all. We paid back my aunt last month. Took us 4 months of extra shifts and eating rice and beans, but we did it. The family court lawyer refunded $3,000 of the retainer since the case got dropped so fast. We put that straight into savings. Our daughter is 7 months old now. She's starting to sit up on her own and laugh at everything. She has no idea her grandmother wanted to take her away from us. No idea her aunt was stalking her when she was 6 weeks old. She just exists in the safe bubble we've built where people don't grab their mothers hard enough to leave bruises or call them incubators. My husband is in therapy now. Processing a lot of stuff about his childhood and his mom's behavior. He said his therapist told him that parents who threaten to take your kids aren't safe people to have around your kids. That it was never really about wanting a relationship with our daughter, it was about control and ownership. I think about that video sometimes. How his mom looked when she said our daughter belonged with her instead of with me. How easily his sisters went along with the plan. How his dad just sat there nodding like stealing someone's child was a reasonable thing to discuss over dinner. We moved 2 months ago. Different town, 45 minutes away. Didn't tell anyone in his family except his youngest brother. New address, new pediatrician, new everything. We needed the distance. Sometimes I see older women at the grocery store playing with their grandkids and I feel this weird grief. Not for his mom specifically, but for the grandmother my daughter could have had if his mom was a different person. Someone who wanted to be part of our lives instead of taking them over. But mostly I just feel relief. We're safe now. Our daughter is safe. No one is following us or taking photos or planning to document our parenting to use against us in court. My husband's relationship with his family is basically over. His youngest brother visits sometimes. Brings his girlfriend. They're good with our daughter, respectful of our boundaries. Everyone else is gone. He said it's like mourning people who are still alive. I don't miss any of them. Last week our daughter said something that sounded like mama and my husband cried. Happy tears this time. He said he keeps waiting for something bad to happen because the last 9 months trained him to expect disaster. His therapist calls it hypervigilance. We're working on it. Both of us. Learning to relax again. To take our daughter to the park without looking over our shoulders. To believe that maybe this nightmare is actually over. I still have those photos somewhere. The ones his sister took. I kept them in case we ever need evidence of what they did. My husband wants me to throw them away. Says keeping them means I'm still afraid. Maybe I am. Maybe I'll always be a little afraid that his mom will show up again with a new plan. But we survived the worst of it. We kept our daughter safe. That has to count for something. People ask me sometimes if I regret how I handled things from the beginning. If I should have just let his mom in the delivery room, let her meet the baby early on, tried harder to make peace. I think about those bruises on my arm. About being called an incubator. About that video where she said she wanted to take my daughter away from me. And I know I did exactly what I needed to do. My daughter is sleeping in the next room right now. Safe in her crib in a house her grandmother doesn't know the address to. That's all that matters.